In today's video, I pull this pony motor off of my tractor, tear into it, and finally figure out what the problem with the starting transmission was.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in this week. It's a busy day in the shop today. My brother and my dad are right behind me. They're putting brakes on this trailer. That's going to be a separate video, but then over here over my left shoulder is my 830. I'm going to be working on that today. If you've watched previous videos of that, you've seen I've had issues with the starting transmission or the clutch between the pony motor and the starting transmission. And so today I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull the pony motor and that transmission off and dig into it and find out what the actual problem is.
Where do you want me?
Right there's fine. Here? Yeah. Just lift it straight up and off.
Yeah, I got an axle here.
I've got it. Okay, this is what we're going to be pulling off today. It says in the manual that it's not very difficult. We've just got to remove all of this linkage up here, and then obviously your wiring, and then over on this side remove some of these nuts down right here on this guard that holds the flywheel cover on, and then it should just lift off after we got some nuts down under here that we got to undo, obviously. But and then we got to take off the water lines and the air breather and also the exhaust. So really shouldn't be too difficult. And then the whole thing just lifts right off. Okay, so I'm disconnecting these coolant lines right now, and this, as is with most things, it's kind of a blessing in disguise that I'm doing this, because if you look down inside this, I don't know if you can see, but this coolant line is just completely full of rust. I don't even know how much coolant was getting through this pipe at all. So anyway, it'll be good to take these lines off and flush those out and get them clean so that coolant is flowing through the engine like it should. It's connected. Then next I'm going to do this exhaust. We'll just keep working. Okay. I think this is the breather for the main engine's crankcase. It's going slowly but surely. I've got the carburetor and all of that assembly taken off, so I'm all disconnected there. And then I'm gonna take the starting motor off because I need to access, I think there's some mounting bolts for the pony motor that are underneath that starter that I can't get to. Same thing on this side. I don't know how I'm gonna get down in here, but we're just gonna keep on working, trying to get these mounting bolts undone. So actually I don't need to take the starter off. So this is my parts pony motor that I've had. I did a couple of videos on this a while ago, and I brought this up just for reference, also because I want the clutch and stuff on the back side. But I just came out and I looked at this, and you can see I've got mounting hole here and a mounting hole here. This is right under the distributor. But there's, oof, as you can see back here, there's nothing mounting the back side of the pony motor to the tractor. This is on the water pump side. And same thing under the starter. I don't need to remove the starter because there's nothing beneath it. So that's good news. Also, when I was looking in the manual, then as I read through it, it didn't say you needed to remove the starter. So anyway, so that's kind of nice to have, well, obviously the literature telling you what to do, but also it's also really nice to have, you know, a reference like this parts pony motor to come out and look at this. So thank goodness for that stuff. One thing I am gonna do is there is so much gunk down inside of here just sitting on top of the crankcase. I just got to get under here with a scraper. I got to get all that dirt and grease out because I don't want it to fall. I don't want all of that stuff to fall down inside any parts of the engine or anything like that. So yeah, let's get that cleaned up too. Okay, everything is disconnected. There's 4 bolts. It seems like there's 4 bolts holding everything on. 2 on the pony motor, and then 2 on the transmission. One that's hard to get to is back over under there, kind of underneath this hydraulic pump, and then the other one is just right here. It's really easy to get to. So now I've got 3 straps on it. I'm going to go ahead and try to apply some tension and see if this thing will break free and, you know, lift up nice and easily. I don't want to put too much pressure on it. It should come up pretty easily, I think.
Take it up.
Yeah, pick it up. Okay, wait just a minute. Okay, there it is. It's loose. Okay, just a minute.
It's hitting the starting motor, or the start motor's hitting. You're supposed to be able to take it out without.
Yeah, the problem is it's the water pipes.
Well, can you take that one out? Are there bolts?
This one is loose, but I couldn't pull it out.
This one?
Here, set it down slowly. Just very slowly. Oh, it's moving. It's moving. Ah. Okay, so that one's out. Now we gotta do the same thing with that one.
If you had the starter off, it would come out.
You think?
Well,
Because then we could slide it.
yeah.
There's 2 bolts holding the starter on.
Well, that's not a big deal.
Just take those off.
Can you get to them?
Yeah, I can get to them right here.
Okay, is the starting motor undone?
Well, yes, but
There it is. It's hooked up though.
no, it's unhooked. It's unhooked.
From the cable?
Yeah, it's unhooked.
Ah,
Okay, that frees up a lot of real estate.
yes.
Too bad.
No.
I don't want to be.
You okay?
Yeah. And now, once we get it off these blocks, then we'll move it over. Okay, just a minute. Okay.
Up.
Yeah, go out. Oh, just a minute. Okay. There we go. Oh, good. Just a minute.
You okay?
Yep.
Up.
Yeah.
Everything's clear? I think we can get it up over this way now.
Can we?
Uh-huh.
Okay, let's back it up. Let's just set it up on your trailer.
Okay.
Okay.
You kind of stabilize it.
Okay. Wait.
Okay.
Okay, go. Just a minute. Okay.
Okay, you got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Just a second. Okay. Okay. So I ended up loading the pony motor in the back of my truck and I brought it home. And in my mind, this is where the real fun is going to begin, because I'm going to get this thing out of my truck, onto my workbench, and then take this apart and really figure out what the deal is with this. So that took quite a bit of time to get everything cleaned off, but it's always easier to work on something when it's all clean. And there was just so much grease, especially caked on down here all around the water pump, back here behind the distributor, just so much grease packed in there. So I took a minute, got that cleaned off, and as is with most parts of this tractor, as I clean it and as this kind of tan colored Caterpillar paint rubs off or wears off, then underneath it you can see all the bright original yellow John Deere paint. It's just really pretty. Like I've said before in past videos, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but this original John Deere paint that's showing up through here, I'll get out of the shadows, but like right here on the side of this head, it's about exactly the same color as a DeWalt drill. So just for frame of reference. But anyway, as I was cleaning it off, I found a couple of interesting things. First of all, right here on the side of this engine, right here, where the starter goes, I found, let me grab my light real fast. There, now you can probably see better. But I found this notch, and that to me looks like it was broken, just the jagged top of it. And so I was a little bit frustrated because I thought that was broken. And I noticed on my parts tractor, my parts pony motor over here, this is from a 720, there was a very similar notch right here. Again, it almost just looks like it's broken. But I did some measuring, and these notches are in exactly the same spot. So I went to the experts on Facebook and I posted a question showing some pictures of this. And everybody responded in the group saying, nope, that's factory. That notch is supposed to be there. It's to allow oil. If there's that cover on the bottom of the engine, it's just allow anything that may seep out of the bottom of the engine, a way to escape and get out from under that, get out from under the tractor. So anyway, kind of interesting that notch looks so, like I say, so jagged, but it's factory. So as I got everything cleaned up here on the starting transmission, as I looked closely, and you can see right here, there is a, looks like there's a little bit of a crack right here. No big deal. I'm not too concerned about it. I mean, I've got a bolt right up above it, and I've got a bolt right here that kind of clamps the starter in place. So I don't think that that crack should really grow, but if it ever did, then I could weld it at that point. But I'm not going to dig into that and try to repair it now. I think I would just make it worse than it already is. Another thing that I thought was pretty cool that I found as I was cleaning it off is right here. There's a plug, and this is filled with cork. And so not exactly sure why we have this access hole here, but I know that lots of times Deere would fill, plugs like on the back of your tractor. On your axles, you have those threaded holes where that can be used to attach implements, plows, kind of tractor mounted type stuff. Anyway, I know that on several of those tractors, they would fill those plugs with cork just to keep dirt and grime from getting in there and clogging them up. So it's kind of fun to find that another cork plug here on this tractor. Anytime you dig into these, it's kind of fun to find different things, learn a little bit of history about the tractor. I like finding the original yellow paint. I like finding these little plugs. Just kind of fun things to learn about the tractor that you never really would have known unless you had, dug into it. So it's definitely a learning experience. But anyway, back to the engine. I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull these bolts out and see if I can get this thing separated. Go inside here and see what the deal with that clutch is. I really do think that I've got a messed up clutch disc. So let's find out. I just noticed this. I think this might be a little inspection cover to look in and see. You can probably see the ring gear. Yeah, just the ring gear right there on the pony motor. Nothing much to see there. Okay, now I know I have a dowel pin right up here in this corner, and then I have another dowel pin down here in that bottom corner. So I got to be really careful prying these apart. I don't think they're going to come apart easily, but I got to be careful. I can't really hit stuff because I don't want to crack this cast, as I know it already does crack easily. So play it safe and go nice and slow is the name of the game. Oh, that was not hard at all. Okay. Well, I didn't know what I was going to find, and I really wish that I knew what I was looking at. I mean, I wish I knew I was familiar with what I was looking at. I thought that this disc would be kind of wedged up in here, but it's not at all. But I'm going to go ahead, I'll take the pressure plate off right here, cut that tie wire, take the pressure plate off, and we'll keep going. Wedge a block of wood under there. Ooh, those are tight. I have to get my impact driver. There we go. Okay. Well, that's part of why the issue. I thought that I had, so that's okay. Here's the pressure plate. But if you look here, wasted. I don't think the facings of that clutch disc are supposed to be removable. Now I'm thinking, I still think that that would make sense. You know, is that going to make sense why this would cause the engine and the transmission to always be engaged even when the clutch isn't activated? And I think it would be because, oops, hear me out, because this clutch disc, it's supposed to be here, it sits right there, but it's splined to the transmission housing, which is over here. I don't know if you can see it on camera. But it just rides here freely. Then when you activate the clutch, it's kind of opposite from a car. It presses the plate, the clutch disc, against the flywheel so that then they're connected. Now, if you have one of these facings, if it gets loose and it comes up here and gets lodged up here with that spring, then in a sense they're always connected, because then when this flywheel's spinning, this facing is locked here and this facing might be bound up some here. Anyway, so I think that that could explain why I was having that issue. So I think I have a replacement one of these. If not, I'll have to see if I can buy one. Yeah, if I looked right down here on this parts motor, the clutch, I think in this one, that clutch disc in this one was pretty good. So let's pull that one out and let's see how it looks. So here's this clutch out of that parts pony motor, and it looks like it is identical. I'll have to check part numbers and things, but I mean, it's the same diameter. I'm guessing it's the same spline count. They're the same spline count. But I'll have to clean this up with some brake clean, and let's look at the pads, that friction material, and see how it is. But from right here, it looks like it's pretty good, and this would be a usable clutch disc. So I'll also go and look. I'll see how much a new one is, but I don't see, and there's a lot of material left on that too. So I don't see why this wouldn't be usable. A new clutch is about $100. I found them online. But I think this is going to be just fine. And I'm going to run with it. Fits on that shaft. There's no play in there. I think that'll be a good clutch for me. I'm going to try it out. So I was also curious to see if there's a problem inside of this transmission, and it seems like as long as I'm spinning that gear, that is moving just fine. So I mean, this spins nice and freely. There doesn't seem to be any play or anything with that. And watch this. Okay, I've got two cameras going because I want to see if I can show you this. What I've got is on one screen, or with one camera, I've got it focused here on the starting gear, which engages with the flywheel of the tractor. On the other side, on the other camera, I'm pointing here at the shaft where the clutch disc rides, right here. So when I pull back on the engagement handle here, it will move this starting gear over and engage it with the flywheel before this clutch is spinning. And I can tell that because when I'm pulling this back, the throwout bearing here on this other end of the transmission hasn't started moving yet. So this drive gear shouldn't start spinning until that throwout bearing engages right now. And that doesn't happen until this gear is fully engaged with the starter, or excuse me, with the flywheel. So I'll do it again. So I pull out. This gear is still stationary because the throwout bearing hasn't started moving. And now the throwout bearing moves, and at that point, this gear will start to move. So I think everything inside of this is working. Now inside of this transmission, there is a like an overdrive protection or prevention, so that once the diesel engine starts and this starting gear is still meshed with the, what do you want to call it, the flywheel of the tractor, that this can spin freely and not damage the pony motor at all. So I do want to read a little bit about that and see how I can make sure that that is working as it is. I spared you guys the boredom of watching me clean the pressure plate and the clutch parts, but they're clean now. So now I think I'm going to go ahead and reassemble the clutch, and let's connect the transmission and the engine and turn it over with a starter and see if the transmission and the clutch are working now. Okay, that's all tight. Clutch disc is still free. Now I'll put the tie wire on, then I'll adjust the free play on that clutch. Okay, I don't know how this is going to go, but probably need to take this inspection cover off. This is going to be kind of tricky because I need to get that spline shaft connected with that the clutch disc that's kind of out of focus. Oh no, there it is. Need to get those two aligned. However, that clutch disc, since it's not held in place with the pressure plate because it's opposite of a car clutch, that clutch disc sags down. So I'm going to prop up the back of the engine, and then we'll see how that works. Oh, let's see, are we still? Okay. I'm still connected to the clutch disc. I'll put some bolts in here and see if I can carefully squeeze it together. So I think this is working. What I'm doing is I'm very slowly using these fasteners here, and then I have a clamp over here to squeeze the transmission and the engine together. And I'm making sure that nothing is binding by making sure that I'm still able to spin the starter gear here. So I think it's working. Just trying to take my time. Yeah, that still spins. Now remember, I've got a dowel pin up here in this corner, and then a dowel pin down here in that corner. So that's why I'm using this clamp, is to squeeze this together down where that dowel pin is. Uh-oh. Oh, it's still moving. Okay. This is working good. That works. Oh, this is perfect, guys. So I'm really pleased with this. I think everything's going to work. If you look down inside of here, hopefully you can see those splines right there. That's the splined shaft of this transmission. And if I'm over here, and if I spin this starter gear, you can see that splined shaft spin nice and freely. And I'm going to adjust my camera here in just a minute. As I spin this gear right here, the clutch disc is spinning, and then if I try to spin the starting gear right here the opposite direction really fast, I can feel the overrun system inside of this working just fine. So that's good. So that works. And I really think this is going to work just fine, because as I pull on this, I haven't set the clearance inside of this clutch yet. It might be okay, I'll have to check it. But as I pull this out, so the starter gear is now out, but the pressure plate hasn't started moving yet. There's the pressure plate, it's starting to move. There, it moved. Everything's locked together now. I think everything is going to work. Let's put that starter in and let's try it out. I apologize, I hooked up my starter over here on the other side, and I don't have a 6-volt battery, and so I'm not gonna mess around with that. I don't want to screw up that solenoid with a 12-volt battery. It might be okay, but I just don't want to chance it. So I'm just going to turn it over by hand. I've got this inspection cover off here on the side, so I can just reach in there with a screwdriver and turn over the flywheel. So you can see I'm turning the flywheel over. You can probably see the pressure plate and the clutch assembly spinning there. And notice down in here, that gear is not spinning, which is the first time that's ever happened. usually whenever this flywheel spins, that gear spins. So that's perfect. Now, let me apply the starter lever by pulling this out. Let me hold it in place. There are vice grips. Now when I turn over the flywheel, look right there, and let's see. I already know what happens because I've done this before, but you haven't seen it. There we go. Ah, it works. You guys, that's going to do it for today's video, I think. I would have liked to end it with me getting that engine mounted back onto the tractor and getting the tractor started, but I'm going to save that to the next video. This one's getting a little bit long and maybe a little bit boring. Hopefully you have been able to find it interesting and you've stuck in till the end, but overall, I'm glad that I was able to get this thing, the clutch freed up. It seems like it's working now with that test I just did. I'm confident that it will work just fine once I get it back on the tractor. There's still a few things that I need to do on this. I've got to set the clutch clearance, make sure that that's right. I'm going to check the gear lube and things like that in the starting transmission. I might do a little bit of maintenance on the actual pony motor and then get it mounted back on, and then get the big engine started. I gotta redo all of the electrical. So that's gonna be the next video on the 830. I think that I've gotta be my work has taken me out of town for the next few weeks, going to all corners of the United States. So next few videos are not gonna be on the 830, but I promise in a couple of weeks, we'll get this thing mounted back on the tractor and started. As always, you guys, I appreciate all of the support you give me. I enjoy posting these videos and the fact that other people out there watch them and find them interesting and post comments and things like that. That's just the icing on the cake. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week with another video.